depend on to Marshmallow's recording, or I will just set up a flow feedback sort of review afterwards with my comments, and then you can review this through. We'll find a solution for that. Okay, and then we'll have to rely on that. Okay.
Anna's one, by the way.
Yeah, we rewind this. Yeah, okay.
Like an in-game com, really.
So we have the same issue that we've had at the beginning of your first scrims. We have different parties in different location with different field of views, different sidelines, and different goals and objectives. So right now, you would at least, if you have these splitting parties, at least you want them to at least focus their firepower for as much as possible. So you want to have these two targets in case they are splitting from the rest of the team. At least go for the same target, like either the Lucio or the Ana. I think in this case you were shooting different targets. Then the Lucio needs to make sure that the Ana can be peeled if the enemy is counter-diving or counteracting in some sort of way. Like, it could have happened that this Brig would have just went for the Ana instead if she would have noticed her. Lucio can also output insane amounts of damage if you have good aim, and if he would have noticed that that there's an Ana mispositioned. But in this case, they're not seeing you. Okay.
Wait, can we just go back a little bit? I want to see how Winston ended up down there, because it was.
He failed the jump.
For a while. Yeah, he failed his jump.
He failed the jump.
Yeah, but how did he end up inside? Like, I don't think he should have been hiding.
Oh, yeah. He just went inside.
He went on the back.
He was just like, I'll just stand here. Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe just like try and organize a dive rather than just stand out of fight for a bit.
Yep.
I just wanted to put that up. Like, Anna's one. See, Spike's just going and attacking not what everyone else is attacking. So maybe like somehow try and change the target for a priority.
Yeah, of course, but it's a lot of tunnel visioning over there, because you no one's you're not letting each other know what you're doing. Like, someone's calling.
The tanks could have gone and dealt with the back line, but we didn't know where Spike was going.
That is one possibility. Another possibility is that Spike could have just went with the team and so on. This just not applies to Spike.
Yeah, good.
I think I was out of position there. That's why I lost him back.
I think it was more of just the fact that we couldn't win the fight because of they were just rushing on the supports. I don't think you're out of position really.
You weren't. It wasn't. You didn't coordinate your firepower. You didn't focus it. It was more of a fiesta with each one chasing their own goals and targets. Okay. Okay. Again, you're a dive comp. That's not the objective. They're playing a death ball with a split sniper on the high ground. So even if you rotate through the hotel, at some point you have to contest the sniper. So then you would rotate through the hotel, jump the sniper onto the high ground, which then leaves your support, who's rotated here and standing in this corner. You would just leave him exposed to the rest of the enemy team. And if you decide not to expose your support and fighting their brawl comp instead, he's just getting free ult charge. So you're putting yourself, by rotating through the whole tab with a dive comp, instead of using the space, the given space to your advantage, you're just making your life hard as fuck and putting yourself into a position where it's almost impossible to win. Of course, if the enemy makes a major mistake, you might win this regardless. Or even if your target calling is better than the enemy's, you will probably win it regardless of the situation you just created. But that should not be included into your calculations.
Okay. It's a big pulse bomb. Yikes. Big ult trick.
The more I play Lucio and other healers, I get to know their
Yeah.
ults for.
Get the Mercy. Mercy's one.
Zarya one backline.
Get the Lucio.
We were
Let's go.
missing a target call, and after the
Lucio.
Mercy
Lucio,
died, it
Lucio,
was just
Lucio.
silence.
Get the Ryan.
Get the Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I've talked about
Yeah,
before. You start target
I-
calling.
I
the
do
target,
as well, though.
yeah.
I do.
The target dies and then you suddenly stop. Like if,
What's next?
yeah, like if you were done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, okay, Mercy died, we win. Nice. Good job, guys.
Hands are dead.
And just sits there with the thumbs
Right,
up.
push
It's
up.
like, yeah, really good work. Nice. Yeah, we're doing this
I'm
well.
saying
Also,
Yeah, I'm
Stay
safe.
calm.
easy clap. Yeah, I know.
Zarya-
I do this.
Zarya
sometimes. I
Lucio
just like, I jump in, we're like, kill the Anna. We kill the
Lucio's
Anna. I'm
half.
like, okay, cool.
Oh,
What do
Mercy.
we get now?
They're all hit. They're all hit.
Zarya, they've gone back and spawn. Back out if you can.
Who's on the point here?
Back off.
No one
Yeah, back out.
in this case, I
for-
believe.
for-
Hands
there
over,
was-
hands
there-
over.
There was someone because they were
We had an
camping.
honor, I believe.
Oh yeah, probably Dio.
Oh, top left.
Yeah.
Oh, with Lucio and Brig.
Yep.
Yeah, it was Lucio.
Uh,
It was Dio and Cot.
Okay.
They're going to be close to the ground. Close to the ground.
What can we combine D1 with?
Nothing. But we didn't have. Watch out for grab here.
Yeah, no, we
they're
didn't,
going to
but-
grab this, I think.
That's what we should do.
I didn't have
Nano
any
Blade
matrix,
with
I didn't have
CMP
matrix.
bomb.
They're
It's
dragging
just
in.
easy fight wins.
Alright, that's good.
Oh, was that unlucky? Did you try to eat the dragon in that moment?
Yeah, I tried to.
Okay. Yeah, you need to be very early. Like the moment you
Yeah.
hear him say his bullshit, you need to like right click
Yeah,
it
they're going to grab
immediately.
this, I think. Because I forget there's
I
didn't have matrix.
Time
They're dragging in
before
Oh yeah.
the arrow comes
Yeah.
after.
Yeah, because you have like 2.5 seconds of DM or whatever the time is. Like once he says the word, if you're close enough, you can catch it.
It's unfortunate. With the right amount of reflexes, you could have sustained it with the beat. By the way.
Alright, that's good. That's good. And shattered. They shattered.
3 ults.
No, well, we use primal. Okay. We have
Thankful
nano
Sea
blade.
Dragon.
Yeah, well, we have nano blade again.
Okay.
It's a pretty fair trade because you just kept the point and the base is next to the cart. So on long terms, the ult trade will lead to you winning the next fight because they just used pretty fucking ults. They I don't know why they even shattered. It wasn't necessary. So you win that trade and you should probably also be able to win the next fight.
Okay. All the way back. Yeah. Lloyd. You ready? Oh, still need a bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
almost have nano again.
Mercy half. Heal.
Zarya Arsenal.
Oh my god.
Unlucky.
I'm sorry.
What's
We,
that?
we dive the Mercy.
Yeah, that's an unlucky one. Okay. Let's do. So you just regrouped, or in the process of regrouping, while you make that plan of what ults to use in the next fight, which I believe you agreed on using Nano Blade. You also need to make sure what paths you're going, especially in a dive comp. So you have that possibility to go through the main choke. But since almost each one of you has mobility skills. You don't need to be coming from the same direction. You can have Genji climb up that wall, looking for a good nano blade, and in that way, he doesn't have to like use his dash to dash up in the air to get the nano, but instead get the nano, then dash into a target, maybe finish someone, or you deal with damage and then activate his blade, whatever. Same for the for both of the dive tanks. And Tracer, you can just flank from this spot, especially if you have pulls. It's a nearly worthless ult. Like, you don't need to value it as much. You can just spam it. If you get good sticks and get used to sticking good bombs, especially on a Brig, if you can get her out of the fight, there's a 250 HP armor target that could be a potential threat to your Genji. And if you manage to take out that threat, even if you use more ults than planned, it's still a good trade. Especially since you can charge your ult nearly every fight as Tracer. So go for the good sticks and go for the easy sticks. Like, don't try to like stick a Lucio that is wall riding, speed boosted, whatsoever. Go for the easy and safe stick.
Cool. Mercy half. Heal.
Zarya fast
Oh
and
my god.
unlucky.
I'm sorry.
What's
We
that?
dive the Mercy. We dive the Mercy.
Where is the Mercy?
Come back and come back. Just
She's...
regroup.
No, regroup.
With
I'm
Tracer.
back. I'm back.
Yeah, we need...
Okay.
Alright, where...
We've
We
got
have
nano
nano
blade
now.
now.
Yeah, we nano blade.
Okay, you
this
ready?
fight. Nano blade now.
Ready?
Yeah.
Go whenever. Okay, go.
Pull out. Help him.
Break. Nice,
Right one. Nice, push up. Honestly,
Sorry, Navi.
honestly caught.
Zarya.
Honestly caught. I push up. We get staggers.
I've missed this
Guess
team comp. Oh my god. Alright,
Oh Jesus.
still got work up.
Hey, deals it.
Well,
Missy Hanzo.
Okay, so you're pushing up. You can either stay here around this area, occupy that high ground, and occupy this area with the Mega, and then come from different direction and attack your targets. If the enemy allows it and they're not grouping as 6 or not entirely resetting, which is the case since they have 4 people already walking out to the next choke while 2 are still in their base. So technically, you're not being outnumbered.
Missy Hanzo, Lucio here.
You can also occupy that high ground and this one, and then wait for someone to make a mistake. In this case, it's the Brig. She's out of position, and the Mercy ain't in range. Lucio's probably on speed aura, and even if he would heal, it would not be enough if everyone shoots that Brig. She will eventually die. So you need to be aware of that, which was not the case since Spike was facing the opposite direction while everyone else was noticing the Brig. So you need to agree on one target.
Get the Brig.
Okay. Wait, did you get burst instantly or? Okay, so you got hit by the fire strike, and then yeah, you need to be aware of that. Either you like develop the reflexes to dodge the fire strike. Alternatively, you could have your Diva Matrix it. Comes with practice as well. And even if you got hit by that fire strike, you should immediately recall. Because your healer was pushing the cart, so that means your healer was around the corner, and right now you're out of sight. Lloyd cannot reach you anymore. So you either intentionally peek at the corner for Lloyd, or you recall, but you should not blink into the enemy. Like, notice your health bar. That's also like a key thing when playing squishy heroes, especially Tracer, Sombra. Be aware of your health.
I'm low.
Unlucky. Back a little bit. Brig half, Brig 1.
Come back, guys.
I'm on.
Heal. Yeah, I'm probably gonna die.
Yeah, we've got the cop.
Here's the cut. Thank you. Big.
They shot us. Alright,
I believe-
we can back. If we can, get out. If we can't, get out.
Okay. Have Blade.
Much more
Should I
negative.
wait for Nano or Naked? Blade?
We could use Blade to get rid of beat.
Yeah.
Oh, just staggered. Fuck. You wait for Diva. Yeah,
We've
yeah,
been
I know.
holding on to bomb for a bit too long, I
I
think.
know. Yeah, I'm gonna use it this fight. I'll
Use
use
it
it this
for a
fight. Don't use
remake.
Blade. Yeah,
Yeah,
don't use
yeah.
it. Don't use Blade this fight. I'll bomb this fight.
Yep, maybe force up beat
Yeah.
if they're stupid enough.
Right, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna initiate. 3, 2, 1, launch it.
Okay. Again, you don't need to be coming from the same direction. You'll also have the high ground for good initiation points. You have this route from the left side, from the right side, looking from your spawn. And you also have the opportunity to go from the far left. So you technically have 3 flanking routes to apply pressure onto your enemy team. And mostly both DPS are responsible for like taking different routes to be really annoying. Because if you are facing the Ryan shield and poking from the same direction, the Ryan can easily shield your damage off. But if you're poking from 2 different directions, the Ryan has to decide whether he shields this way or that way. Additionally, the rest of the team, which is facing forward to the card's direction, will force the Reinhardt to like make a decision if he also rather wants to shield forward. So the Ryan really gets pressure without you landing severe damage or a kill onto the enemy team. He will get in a situation where he finds himself really pressured. And that also applies to the Brig, since she cannot stun 3 people coming from 3 different directions at once. So she will have to decide who to focus as well. And let's say your Genji is coming from this side and the Brig faces him. That means the Genji is limited in his space, but it also means that the Trace has more space to move in and deal more damage. And if you notice that the Brig rotates to the Tracer, then the Genji acquires more space. This is more specific and advanced stuff, and you will get a feeling for it. But you will get used to if you communicate about this kind of stuff. If you know what each other member of your team is doing at the moment. About the initiation bomb, it might work right now, but usually like the higher you get, the less times this will actually work anymore. It's just essentially the same with the engage beats. By the time you get into the fight and start to actually take damage, the beat barrier will already be decayed, and you could have left that beat unused and would have had the same effect. So initiating with the Diva Bomb, if you are nano blading or blading without nano, that is okay, because it forces people to like get panicking and start splitting. And so in this case, each one of them will rather save their own asses, and maybe the Brig will just step away from the Mercy and the Genji can go for the kill. But in this case, your Genji is not using his blade.
No beat, no
Sorry,
beat. Big.
Four.
Nevertheless, it was a good bomb, and you deserve the win.
So in future, just for like, just use the bomb for like remaking and stuff. Yeah.
Use it for remake. The only there are certain situations where you can use it like to go for kills, and this is when you know that the enemy has a dive comp, for example, and they already use the monkey bubble. Then you can go for kills. You will get 1 kill if you use your ults to gain an advantage. So even if you end up only getting 1 kill,
You've got the advantage.
you've got the advantage, and that's what you're aiming for.
So right now, I'm using my bomb for like backline blades and then also inside grabs. Is that a good idea, or should I just not?
It is.
Okay.
If you want to, there are certain techniques where you can use bomb to go for specific kills. But first of all, you need to learn to throw your bomb in an arc.
Yeah.
so it explodes in mid-air rather than just shooting it on ground on ground level. And you also need to use the environment. Let's say
So like the walls, the throw into a wall and it climbs up the wall essentially. Those.
exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Break. That's
Actually,
That's also one of the reasons I'm only preferring to play 2 maps in my map pool, because I want people to make the best out of their environment.
Okay.
For example, if I was you,
yeah.
You could have shot. There's this wall, and you could have shot it right there. Then it would have been stuck onto the wall for like a split second, and then it would have immediately crossed the corner and like exploded here.
Okay.
Like just one of a few tricks you could use. And same also for Genji, good Genji blades. Dashing up onto this roof, you dash up to this, and you probably reach the skybox, like the end of the skybox. Then you get your blade, and then you dash downwards. I can show you a first-person clip of this later. But this is a really, really good blade. If you can execute this will be a huge surprise to your enemy. Especially if you know where each of the enemies are standing, which you should eventually know by sending someone in that scouts. But using your environment is really good. It's OP.
really huge.
Hanzo in the back.
Alright, 3 up.
Where's the Hanzo?
Inside somewhere.
Oh, he's
Hanzo on top.
he's on
Oh,
top
Get
now.
him, get him.
Dead. No, push
Big
up.
Slugger.
I'm gonna go high ground.
Okay, got Nano.
I'm trying to get.
Sorry,
I'm gonna
objective.
try to get a.
Okay. So you said that you were going to the high ground, right call. You let your team know what you're going to do. For whatever reason, your main tank didn't catch up on it. I don't know if he listened to the call or just straight up ignored it. But you need to make sure that someone's following you.
Okay.
Even if you're alright, let's say you're flying in with boosters and you notice, there's you're alone, no one's following you up, then you immediately need to turn back.
TFO, yeah.
Yeah.
a big
Zara's half being pocketed.
Right, ready in for Nano. Go.
They beat it. We can help low. Lucio 1. Mine. Get the Ryan.
Hanzo half, Hanzo 1. Oh, I'm dead.
The deer looks like they're having so much fun there.
Okay, so what went wrong?
Help low. Lucio 1.
We use Nano, we use Blade. We got 3 kills, 3 of their supports. They remain without healing.
They beat it.
Okay, I see one problem again. Torterra was not like you get called to engage multiple times, and yet he still stood behind the wall instead of either going to the high ground or at least going to the main spot so he can have an actual view of the battlefield in order to know where he's gonna dive next. Because in this case,
Go.
you blade in. Emerald sees what you're going to do. Marshmallow, you should either be flanking this side or immediately go to like you should be here somewhere, like around the left area, so you can like poke damage from the left side or finish off kills. But you do not want to be facing frontline. You can do that by going straight to the left side and then even like if the rest of your team is ready and you're not because you still need to set up by walking through the left side, then you have your team know until you're ready. Otherwise, you could have also double blinked through the Zarya and the Brig. They wouldn't have killed you because lower bracket elo, but like what's more drastic is that Torterra now tried to jump around the corner and ended up not jumping as far as he could have if he would have been standing on the high ground. Because if you would have been on the high ground, he could have just also walked in there and then could have reached at Hanzo or other parts of the back line. But now he wasted his jump. He cannot get out even if he wanted to. Otherwise, except if he pulls up his primal, he can jump back out safely. But he's put himself into a spot where he is not in control anymore.
They beat it. We can help like Lucio 1.
Okay, so we didn't we have finished off 3 people and we still don't have any target calls. This is not good, and this is one of the main reasons where why the fight didn't end in a W. So now you should be focusing that Hanzo, like each one of you. Totara could have even primaled in this one. It would have been winnable
Mine.
because you killed
Get
3
on.
supporters.
Hanzo half, Hanzo 1. Oh, I'm dead.
Instead you insisted onto like killing the Rhine.
Yeah.
Always look for squishies. If there really is no squishy around, then go for the tanks. But taking one look around you doesn't cost any effort. It's just a swipe with your mouse. It's worth taking it.
Like, get out. One. Just jump. Okay. Stop. Reset if we can.
Okay.
They're gonna have They're gonna have dragon combo. They're gonna have grab combo.
Yep.
So just watch out for that.
See you up in the flood.
We don't beat it. They're rallying.
Use rally.
They have no projected bubble. Well, they're playing as a group. We can.
Yeah,
Who's
I've
that?
bubble again.
No bubbles.
Who's the target?
Yeah, the thing is now, Dio's trying to do the right thing. You can like just go to the high ground and then you can boop people into that hole. Another possibility is to like ask Totara if he could do the same, because you can actually like jump into that hole and then you can drop down and primal and then just knock them into the hole as well.
Get the mercy.
Yeah, but in order to do that, you need to keep them around this area. So if you want to do that, just communicate it with your team and to actually create the possibility for your team to zone them into this area. Because if they don't know what you're gonna do, it's hard to execute it anyway, because now your team is being pushed back, whether intentionally or unintentionally remains unknown because you're not communicating about it or about what you're going to do.
Mercy.
Unlucky. Alright.
Almost worked.
I'm trash. I'm trash.
Okay, so remember what I said when we briefly talked about King's Row and King's Row strat and comps. You should only remain on dive as long as you're snowballing. If you start losing one, or it's hard to come back. So in this case, I would have taken the swap if I was you. I did not interfere with the situation intentionally, but no matter what comp you play, 3 pushes with the same comp, and if you still don't get the point, you swap off. Like that's specific situation against a death ball. So it's a death ball, which makes it hard for you to dive. And also you're playing against a sustain comp that has the spawn advantage as well. So remember, we talked about this third point on payload maps or hybrid maps. Feels like 2 CP. And if you cannot out-sustain your enemy or get quick kills, you will end up losing the longer the fight goes. So you need to swap off at this point.
I have bomb. We can. Okay, we need to.
Can we get the
need to
break?
use-
Break.
It's only you, Totara, I think. And Mercy
Oh,
and
wow.
Lana.
Nice. Nice.
Oh,
Get back in
Just
spawn,
reset,
get back in
reset,
spawn,
you guys.
back in
Totara,
spawn.
reset.
Okay, so key difference between regrouping and resetting. Regrouping just means you gather at a specific spot that is set. Let's say the enemy is defending here, then you can regroup here, you can also regroup there, or there. If the enemy punishes you and is trying to getting staggered by killing each of you individually at different timestamps, and your shot caller is calling a reset. A reset means you stop feeding, you stop getting staggered, you group at the base. Okay, so that's a key difference between resetting and regrouping. If you're getting hardcore bullied and snowballed, you call a reset, so you can like have a fight. Because each time a person dies on a different timestamp, you spend 10 seconds waiting for the person to respawn. And if you are regrouping far from the spawn, like far away from the spawn, you also have to add the time the person needs to travel back to the regrouping position. And by that time, if another person dies, it costs you another 10 second plus. So reset is a good call if you like start getting staggered and then you want to reset at the base.
What's our reset?
30 seconds.
Okay, we have 30 seconds. We need to do this something. So we have Nano. Okay. Right, let's push up. Let's go. I'm gonna bomb in 3, 2, 1. Bomb in the back. It's been shielded.
Still going, still
sorry.
going. Nice.
All right, push up with that. We'll use that to.
Damn the mercy.
In the back.
Okay,
Oh,
I didn't need it.
See how?
Don't worry.
All right, so it took you very long until the first target call came. You can also call targets before a fight actually begins. So you say, okay, I initiate with the Diva Bomb, and then we're going to search for the Mercy. You can talk about targets in advance. And if you want to change your plan, you can still do that in the middle of the fight. All right, the target call is only like the priority target is the target that is being called recently. So if you had called a target before the fight begins, and then suddenly a target caller decides for another target, then you go for the most recent target. So you got nothing to lose by setting up a target call before the fight begins. It just allows you to be accurate in your plans and gives you more structure in the fights.
Ignore it.
Mercy half.
We have
Falcon,
over.
Falcon.
I don't know if we can win.
I'm just gonna hide.
we got
I
Nano
don't
Blade
think
ready.
so.
Contest.
And if you see me, nano me.
Unlucky. I can.
Oh, I
I'm
messed up,
on a cut.
sorry. I sleep.
They beat it.
Yeah, that Nano Blade was unlucky, but let's rewind to the point where the fight starts. Okay. Clock says 17 seconds. Usually, if the clock says like 25 seconds, then it's probably gonna be the last fight. Depending on the... Of course, it can be situational, whether you are allowed to have a new fight or not, a recontest. Depends on your comp, depends on where the payload is, depends on the spawn times and so on. But roughly, we can say that at like 25 seconds, it's most likely going to be the last fight. So what you want to do is to make sure to ensure that everyone is not dying before they use their ult in this fight. All right, in the last fight, you use everything, whether you're hardcore winning or not. You're most likely gonna win by using everything in the last fight, and if you end up losing after you've already used every single skill, then you can say, okay, it was an unlucky situation. We've done everything we could in the situation. It is as it is. But if you die with ults on your team, they could have had an impact onto that fight.
It's been shielded.
Still going.
Sorry.
Nice.
All right, push up with that. We'll use that to.
Damn the mercy.
In the back. Oh,
I didn't need it.
See how?
Don't worry. Ignore.
Mercy half.
We have
Falcon,
over.
Falcon.
I don't know if we can win.
I'm just gonna.
Okay, we can skip that part. We've seen that.
Oh, I messed up,
I'm
sorry.
on a cut. No storm.
Oh, fuck.
Hands are half. Healed.
Off on my point. It's still Terror on point. No, it's unlucky.
Oh,
Nice.
It was a good try for a
Yeah,
recontest,
it's good.
but the spawn stamps like didn't allow you to win that anymore.
My sleep guard is just trash today.
It's fine, don't worry. Ignore it.
Boy, my accuracy with my sleep dart this game is like 10% or something.
It's fine. Doesn't
I
matter.
should come.
Arista Diva. On Zen, so
Should be.
show you Orbi because to Terra. If they're playing goats, throw a shield onto point with me as well, and then I'll call for
Shoot.
you. Hide here, and then when as soon as we need soon do we put the shield on? Go now. The shield up now,
5, 4,
and then we need to. Okay, deals in position. They have someone top window. Hands are top window. Nice.
defend objective A.
Okay, so game starts. You want to scout. It doesn't like it's just not regarding this game in general. You want to make sure that you know the enemy comp as soon as possible, no matter what map or what situation, what game or whatsoever. You want to scout as soon as possible. In this case, you can have Diva standing here, you can have her stand there, whatever, but you should not be standing at the shield. You want to stand in a safe spot, of course, so you can retreat after you're done with scouting, but you want to stand in that spot that allows you to scout the enemy comp as early as possible.
Objective A.
They have a Zarya.
Lifting. Hanzo.
Anna Lucio, Ryan Zarya.
Zori and SF.
They only have Hanzo
Hands are
DPS.
half. Hands half.
Okay. As a reminder, once they've passed this choke and are like next to the statue, is where you want to rotate to play by the foam booth. All right, the foam box is key. You don't drop here, drop there. You always want the foam booth because there's the room where you can retreat as an Orisa in case your shield explodes, melts, whatsoever. And then if it's a Diva and she's not able to fly back up for whatever reason, she can also fly through the hotel and get to the Mega if the healers are dead, for example. So always make sure that you have the foam booth on your side. And also if you drop here and your shield is facing the point, chances are really high that you can get flanked from the side. In this case, there's a Hanzo on this side. And on one of the last games, there was an Ana actually flanking, and she probably threw a nade behind the shield. So that can be a KO as well. But when you're standing here, you're safe.
Okay.
Big Discord.
Hanzo left side. Hanzo underneath us. You might be walking line behind. Hanzo's flanking us.
They're going through hotel. They're going through hotel. Big purple.
Wait,
Purple doll of them.
I'm-
Purple doll of them.
All right. Don't drop too early. You have time until they reach one tick, so take your time. Be upstairs and close before they reach that tick. Then you can drop.
All of them.
Arista Diva switch.
Okay. No, you're pretty low. You flew back up, but you need to communicate it with your teammates when you're retreating back again, so that your Orisa junk can drop in time. Also, okay, no, forget it. That's it.
Diva on point, please. Diva on point, please. Arista on point. Arista point, please.
Sorry, low.
And then as soon as you die, just switch one.
Yep.
I almost got tired.
Go back out. We have wall.
Okay, so the way the rotation works, like the drop and recontest, is kind of sloppy. We definitely need to work on that to have small, short, efficient calls and then fast execution.
Wars. We have nano,
Really
so
good
we have
position
tire.
for it now.
I'm gonna switch to Hanzo.
Okay, that's on.
The payload.
Street face.
Yeah. No, they're Sonics. They're
Okay, but the swap was good this time. Last time you fucked up with the swaps. This time you got it right. You swap to Rein Zarya ASAP and take a Hanzo as well. Okay, so that's good. Now you want to hold at this corner to have an environmental advantage. You can either have your Hanzo participating in the shield spam, or if their Hanzo is flanking, for example, you can send your Hanzo in to like 1v1 him. And if your Hanzo wins, that means he just got a free high ground to poke the enemies, because no one else in the enemy team can contest the high ground except for Hanzo or Lucio, but it takes him long.
Sonic. So Sarah, where are you? You're bubbled. Push, hold corner, hold the corner, hold the corner. We need to hold the corner.
Get Ryan's low, Ryan's low.
Shall I tire this?
Okay, so what happened there?
I bubbled too early as well.
Okay, so you're full life. They're proactively pushing you. First of all, I didn't see that in the camera angle. I should have captured it from this angle. Would have been better. But you need to make sure that you have the support behind you. So like at least your Ana, so she can instantly heal you. If your Ana is around the corner and you're fighting there, there's no possibility for Dio to heal you. So make sure that you have the support.
Push, hold corner, hold the corner, hold the corner. We need to hold the corner.
Okay, there was a small miscalculation. You thought that they will not instantly burst your bubble. Yeah, it's something that you need to get used to.
Mm-hmm.
And then otherwise, Totoro needs to improve his shield management. Because he needs to know when he can brawl or when he can't. If he doesn't ask you for a bubble in order to brawl, it's just a throw to like stop brawling, willingly knowing that he doesn't have a bubble or he didn't communicate about the bubble. And just assuming that he will get the bubble from you automatically also is kind of selfish, because who knows, maybe you misclicked and bubbled your support when coming out of the base. Maybe you used it in a fight earlier and you didn't have it up whatsoever.
Get Ryan's low, Ryan's low.
Yeah, communicating about the bubble is key. And I also think that he needs to get a feeling or an awareness of his health bar as well. Because even if he has like 600 HP, people can burst him. Headshots, they can hit headshots. You can get discorded. You will get deleted when you play against a coordinated team. It's not solo queue. So, yeah, make sure that you get a feeling and awareness.
Shall I tire this? Tire this or not?
Yes. Let's chat it.
Oh,
Nice
big.
one.
You have no business there.
Okay.
Immediately get out. No business there anymore. Like when the Rhine started shattering, you didn't have a main tank and you already knew it was lost. Unfortunately, you casted the tire simultaneously, so that's not your fault. You've called the tire, but like for the future, if your main tank is dead against this kind of comp, and you know they have a Lucio, you do not fight. You retreat and take the second contest. Usually you have 2 fights on each stage. This time you technically lost the first fight. So you give it up and aim for the second fight. Now, if you're standing here, you already have had a dead main tank. Then like 2 to 3 seconds have passed. And now you have a dead off support and off tank. Let's say another 5 seconds pass until the rest of your team dies. It's a huge stagger. And you might not be able to get a recontest.
We have no tanks, remember. There's a brick on you guys.
Yeah.
Brig one, brig one. Oh my god.
coming back. Me and Zen are coming back.
A nice sleep, nice sleep.
I'm gonna nade him.
Okay. Instead of calling nice sleep or huge sleep or whatsoever, why don't you like instantly talk about what you're gonna do? You couldn't charge that Rein, but there's the possibility that it gets bubbled, so that's not a good idea. Otherwise, you can just ignore this Rein, let him sleep. It's more than 5 seconds where he's like taken out of the fight. And you can gain a huge advantage of it. If you just leave him, let him sleep, even if you're passively standing there, it gives your Hanzo time to like poke people, and it also gives your off tank and off support time to get back into the fight. Because as you know, they died after the main tank died, and they got staggered for a certain amount of time.
I'm gonna nade him.
Lucius one.
Lucio one.
Get the brick, get the brick, get the brick. She's rallying. Who's the target, Torterra?
Get the brick.
Okay, so asking a target caller for a target is the best option. If you see there's no target call whatsoever, the first person you speak to is the target caller, because there can be many reasons why he's not talking, various reasons, such as maybe he's like brain AFK, pressure, not focused, but he could also be accidentally muted. So if you specifically ask him directly, and he answers, and you're asking him again, maybe he will notice that he's muted.
Get Rein.
Oh,
They can have graph. They have graph. They can have graph.
Oh fuck, dude.
Get brick.
Get Lucio. He's low.
And
Right, purple.
Get Rein. Fuck.
Hanzo one. Alternate.
Hand to the top, by the way. Hand to the top left.
Man,
Lucio dead.
Hanzo dead. Hanzo dead.
They shattered. No bubbles, I'm sorry. I'm gonna die.
Do we need tie or not?
Nope. It's just sorry. She's high charged.
Okay, so due to the lack of the enemy utilizing their ults, I mean, they had 5 ults. I assume that they had a miscommunication or actually didn't develop a plan in between the fights. So you're not the only team that is not or that is forgetting to plan fights. Your enemy doesn't plan as well, apparently. So technically, when you look at the fight before the start, and your Junkrat was dead, regarding the old charge, or considering the old charge, there should have not been a possibility for you to win that. You have a shatter that you failed, unfortunately. Use the Anano, no Grav, no Dragon. Junkrat just died. They have Dragon, Nano, Beat, and they're close to Grav. Alright, there shouldn't have been a way for you to win that fight.
They have graph. They can have graph.
But
Get Lucio.
you won the fight.
And
Right, purple.
Get Rein. Fuck.
Hanzo one. Alternate.
Hand to the top, by the way. Hand to the top left.
Man,
Lucio dead.
Hanzo dead. Hanzo dead.
They shattered. No bubbles, I'm sorry. I'm gonna die.
Do we need tie or not?
Nope. It's just sorry. She's high charged, so get it quick. Got it.
We used Dragon Ball this fight.
Yeah.
So what do we use this? Which ult?
Dragon Ball.
Okay.
Grav and Dragon.
Yeah, I know.
Oh fuck, dude, I have to go eat. Goddamn. Where's Tiger not back yet?
Okay, so right now, both DPS are in the same spot. That is not what you want. If Junkrat spams from there, your Hanzo can spam from there. Alright? So to pressure the enemy Rhine and to force him into deciding in what direction he shields. If all the damage is coming from one direction, it's an easy task for him to shield the incoming damage.
Like 3 minutes, you can do this. I'll try Sonic something.
Also, your healers should be on this high ground. Or in the far back there. Or they can rotate into this area if they want to have sightlines over there. But they should not be at the cart or near it. In case in case your team gets grabbed, you have the trance, so the Zen can stay close, but the Ana can't. Because there's this possibility that even if you are using the trance, the enemy Ana pops a big nade, and you die regardless of the trance. So make sure that you're not getting caught into that grab in the first place. Same applies to Hanzo, by the way. Like, Hanzo and Ana should be the targets that should not get caught into that grab.
Big deals. Thank you. Okay, just call out.
Yeah, I will do. 3, 2, 1, grab in middle street. All 6, they beat it. Put pressure on it, put pressure on it.
Oh no!
Big call, big execution. Nothing to add here. Use of Tire. I think it's a sort of lack of trust. Because the dragon, a beat cannot stop the dragon if it's like... if the whole dragon passes through that grab, they will die even if the enemy uses beat. But it's okay. It's not that of a huge mistake. Next time you can just wait after the grab ends and the targets. If you notice that the targets are not low and there are no target calls, then you can use the tire to clean it up.
Sorry.
Get the Lucio.
I'm sorry, I thought...
fucking rip. One away. Don't worry.
How much is
I was gonna pop him. Oh, yeah,
I honestly thought
the
the dragon wouldn't kill people through the beats, but it did.
Hold the corner now.
What corner? Oh, that one.
This one. Yeah.
Nap time.
No big sleep, I work him. Oh, he's not awake. He's bubbled it. He's awake.
Yeah, I got now now.
Now rallying.
Okay. First of all, there was...
What corner? Oh, that one.
This one. Yeah.
Okay, so there was the call that you hold that corner. So technically you are mispositioned. If it was a goats comp, like an entire goats comp with no threat, I would understand it. But in this case, there was a Hanzo that could have potentially killed you, and that would have left your team in a really bad situation. Other than that, I assume you're being in that room spamming, or are you on the staircase? Are you upstairs on the platform? Do you remember Marshmallow? March? Oh, he's muted.
He's in the same place as kills with that root though.
Okay, are you? Do you remember? Are you? Were you upstairs there, or were you in that small room with the mega? Okay.
No big sleep, I work him. Oh, he's not awake.
Then, this is a thing that a main tank should do, in my opinion, and I also wrote it into the document for a specific reason. He's getting around the corner without a shield. Alright? He fire strikes, but without calling it. Always call your fire strikes, and also call when you tag down the shield intentionally, even if you don't fire strike.
Okay. Yeah, I've
work him. Oh, he's not awake.
Yeah, because surprise headshots, you remember them. I also have a better clip of an enemy Reinhardt that took down a shield and his support getting the Widow headshot instantly. So yeah, make sure that you call that.
I got nano.
No, rallying.
About to.
Get Ryan, get
Get
Ryan.
Ryan, run half.
I'm dead.
Run, one.
Nice.
Sorry.
Any heals? I'm dead.
Okay. Same situation as with the main tank. You lost a teammate before the fight begins. Fall back. Stall it out for as long as possible. Give your teammate as much time as possible to get back into the fight. You have enough ults to compensate for that in case they do a hard engage on you. And since they pop the rally, they want to initiate on you so
No,
bad.
rallying.
About to.
Get Ryan, get
Get
Ryan.
Ryan, run half.
I'm dead.
One.
Okay. What should happen here? You are low. You should call that you're low and that you're backing off. So your Ryan knows that he's brawling alone. That's the first thing that needs to happen. Then,
Get Ryan, get
okay, unfortunate
Get
headshot.
Run half.
I'm dead.
One.
Nice.
You kill the main tank. Your main support dies. That needs to be called. Either by Dio or by someone else, preferably by Dio. You die, you call it. Really important. And don't call I'm dead. Call you have no main heal. Or say no main heal. You can also scream it into your mic. And then your team needs to be back in. You killed their main tank.
It's dead.
Sorry.
That's completely fine. You killed their main tank. And chances are, or it looked like it was really winnable, but it wasn't. It would have been better for you to like back off and stall it. Second thing that needs to happen, this needs to be called peeling the backline has more priority than offensively engaging into the enemy, especially when you're low health. So Steel needs to call for help.
Sorry.
Any heals? I'm dead.
Okay. Even if you would have had the Zen Orb, the Brig would have killed you. So I assume you didn't notice that you didn't have a main healer. Make sure you know that. Second thing, especially for the not just for Lloyd, but for every off support, call for help. So the next one that needs to be calling for help is the Zen.
Dead.
Bring on point.
Get the break.
Brig on point called after 2 people died to her. Not good. We need to be faster.
Break, get the break.
Dead.
Oh fuck.
I'm dead. Yeah, I'm
Went a
fine.
bit too far forward there.
Yeah, that's my bad. I made a mistake.
I have Dragon.
We have Dragon Ball soon.
I'll wait for ball, yeah.
Are we trying contested or do we have no time?
And before that question comes up in the Max VOD reviews, it is okay to use your trance if it means that you get a chance to properly recontest the point. Just because your trance is able to counter a potential grab engage doesn't mean that you have to keep your trance until they use grab. There are certain situations that you want to pop trance in order to win a fight, and as long as you win that fight, it's worth it. So you could have also popped the trance in the previous fight to win the fight. It would have been completely fine. And even if you would have lost it, it would have been because the enemy used ults to kill you. But in this case, you lost the fight and you didn't get any resources from the enemy except for the Brig ult.
I don't think we can. Can we? Can you guys touch or not?
No.
We hold the corner. We hold the first corner. When we Dragon Ball. When we get it soon. We're on Lucky's end.
Ganza.
Am I getting to it?
Nice.
So Sarah, push up. We need you on the corner.
We'll scribe that.
Who's the target?
This is on access.
Get the break, get the break, get the break.
And a half. Dead. Nice.
Oh,
This
big
is
Sam.
Lucy as well.
Get Ryan.
Big one. Dead. Nice.
I wish that it would have called that he was about to shatter, or that he uses shatter, but apart from that, good job. You only needed 1 ult to win the whole fight.
The terabyte, give him health.
Zarya one.
Got it.
They have dragon. They have their dragon combo. I'm gonna. Can we kill the Hanzo question mark or not? I'm gonna.
Can I get
I
healed
can't
sometime?
hide.
Thank you.
I can't hide. Okay, we Dragon Ball this fight.
Okay, so where are you exactly holding? You can hold there or far back. It needs to be clear.
Just call it out.
Oh, we'll do it.
Have a Sonic carry.
I think I can
Okay,
tie
grabbing
it.
3, 2, 1.
I'm really low. I'm really low.
Good plan, good execution. Nothing here to criticize.
Yeah.
Like a bubble.
Dit is geen competitive, dit is scrims. En scrims heeft een bepaalde tijd.
I have more, please. I have 40 health. Can I please have more?
Tire this fight? Tire?
Tie this fight, yeah.
Ryan, put.
They're coming in. They're coming in. They're coming in.
Where?
From the right.
Okay. Using tire. Ideally, you want to use a tire when the enemy is in the start of their engage. You do not want to use it before they engage, and you do not want to use it in the middle of the fight because it takes time. And by that time, you might have a dead team already. So you want to know when they are engaging, and then pop that tire. And when you're hiding in a small room, you have to rely on your teammates telling you when it's a good time to use the tire. So if the enemy Ryan is charging in, means they are engaging. You can use tire. If he shatters, he will not get you because you're in that room. And if your team is shattered and you're using a tire, meanwhile, the enemy team will be backing off. If they're not, then they will have 3 people dead at least. So yeah,
To the right.
this time you used it too early because you didn't get any resources from the enemy team. And you need to get a feeling for when the enemy team is trying to dry push you. If you notice, hey yo dude, they're not using any ults, so they're basically trying to force your resources so they can win the fights by out-rotating you. This is a big sign of the enemy admitting that you are better than them. Not only individually, but team-wise with the target calls and the organization and stuff. I've been told afterwards that the team is kind of fresh and newly constructed, but that is a big indicator of the fact that the enemy admitted that you're better, because now they're just trying to win by out-rotating you with ults. So yeah, try and notice it. If you notice that the enemy is not using any ult, try to adapt your ult economy to theirs.
Is you're dead?
Aaron,
Oh,
hope
come
that
on.
feels bad.
Where the fuck are they?
They're underneath.
There's an Hanzo on top behind.
Tire.
But they have Dragon Ball combo. Watch out.
I'm slept.
Lloyd, chance the Dragon Balls on combo.
Огонь по готовности.
I'm surprised that the Hanzo on the top right, behind you, was called earlier. When did you get called?
But they
He saw him, he shot orbs,
have Dragon Ball combo. Watch out.
I'm slept.
and afterwards no one gave a shit. Why?
Lloyd, chance the Dragon.
He was still shooting at him. Why did he not call it again?
That's why.
Okay.
We didn't know who was there. Paid any attention to it.
Yeah, it's okay if you call it once, and ideally you want to make a call once or twice, and then your team should be reacting to that. Otherwise, it will result into a lot of people talking all the time, and there will be no structure. The structure will get lost, and there will be a lot of clutter. But in this case, it's really important because in your mind you know that they didn't use Dragon or Grav, so this Hanzo is preparing for an old Grav combo, for a Grav Dragon combo. So if no one is reacting to your call, you scream it into your mic until they react to it, because it's important in this case.
The Dragon Balls on combo.
Okay. And now he's just turning around pretending that nothing happened. Why? Yeah, don't do that, please.
Огонь по готовности.
Tron.
Okay.
Oh, the dragon from behind.
Yeah.
How did
And there comes the Anonade.
The dragon went the wrong way as well.
What?
Someone should have noticed the dragon came from the other way as well.
Yeah.
Like, even if we didn't get the call out, we should have seen that the dragon was coming from.
Yeah. You hear him from behind. That's
Like,
true.
You hear him from behind. The dragon's going the wrong way. You're just like, what?
So right now, Steel needs to be turning around and popping arrows into his head.
Tron.
Now he noticed him.
Oh my god, die for
I'm
speed.
fried, I'm fried.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I said, you tranced, but the Anonade fucked you in the ass because he was able to get a clean flank. So when you shield as Ryan, when you shield a Grav, make sure you shield Diana, especially Diana. Even if you have to turn your back to the enemy team, as long as you know that you're being tranced, it's okay. But make sure that you shield the enemy Ana.
Can you shatter dragon?
Yeah, we can track it. Yeah, Shatter Dragon.
Or nano shatter, which one?
Not good. Don't do that. If you know that you're not getting away, contest the payload, so the enemy has to kill you. But don't try to escape. Every second is important in this case.
None of
Do
the
nano
shatter.
shot, nano shot,
Yeah,
nano
none of the
shot.
shatter.
Okay.
I need to wait. Hanzo top left.
He's half. He's one.
Where's Ryan? Ryan, hello? Ryan?
30 seconds.
He dropped. Hanzo dropped.
Torterra.
Okay, so your plan is to nano shatter. There are two types of ults of nano boosts. The first type is to reinforce a certain ability or ult, like Genji blades and tracer clips or barrages, whatsoever, like to enhance abilities, or to charge other ults. So in this case, you could have also went with the Nano Zarya if she was full charge, which is probably really easy given their comp, because they brawl all the time and they don't care if you're bubbled or not. So you always make sure to keep it in mind. If you're able to like charge up a fast grab with a nano boost, you can also go for it.
Just go. I'm gonna dragon it.
Yeah.
Good dragon. Now you need to call the brig and finish her. Like, the dragon didn't even need to get a kill. The dragon does not need to get a kill. It can also be used for the only purpose to split the enemies. In this case, he succeeded, no matter how you look at it. It was a good dragon, even if it doesn't get a kill. You succeeded into like splitting the enemies. Now you only need to like stop tunnel visioning and turn around to clear your backline.
Run. Run one.
Purple.
Healed.
One purple.
Run still one.
Fuck me, dude.
Oh my god, I got pinned from that.
10 seconds.
You're the only one alive, Torterra. Honestly, I'm going Hammond.
Okay.
I don't know much because I'm gonna have to go as well. I would, but I don't sure if anyone else can record. Emerald, can you record maybe?
I can try, but I don't know how.
Okay.
What I dislike about this situation was not primarily the fact that you didn't kill the brig, but that you didn't execute your own plan, which was Nano Shatter. And again, clock says less than 25 seconds, meaning that it will be the last fight. Like, always remind your team, not everyone is watching the clock. So if you happen to be the one watching it and realizing that it's going to be the last fight, shout it into the voice so that everyone uses every resource they have. You would have defended it. I'm 100% sure you would have got this with if you would have used every ult. Even with the beat on the enemy team, you would have killed them.
Fuck me, dude.
Oh my god, I got pinned from that.
10 seconds.
You're the only one alive, Torterra. Honestly, I'm going Hammond.
Okay. Other than that, there's not much